Hello, class. Good evening. Today is October 16, Sunday, 7:30 p.m. I would like to provide some lecture on the using internet, okay, in the GCF Global. So without further ado, let's go to the second slide. By the way, this PowerPoint is located in the Blackboard week number 9 folders, okay, week number 9 folder. All right, everyone. Let's start with the history of the internet, right? The internet was developed by the research agency network called ARPANET, right? ARPANET is stand for Advanced Research Project Agency Network, or ARPANET. It was funded by the U.S. government in 1960s. Uh, One of the reasons that the U.S. created this agency because at that time we had a Cold War with the Soviet Union, okay, and we don't want to get behind from the Soviet, so therefore we created this agency in order to advance in the technologies, okay. So initially, right? Let me copy this one. Initially, the internet was developed to provide a secure military connect to develop secure military connection. Okay, so at the beginning, the internet was created for secure military communication. Remember, we had a Cold War with Soviet Union at that time, so we want to have a good communication that is secure, that was secure. All right. So that's why we created this ARPANET agency to set up the internet. The second uh, the second purpose of the internet at that time was to enable computer at the leading universities and research organization to communicate with each others, right? Let me show, let me name you some of the universities that involve in that, okay? Uh, the first one is UCLA, UC Santa Barbara, Stanford University and University of Utah at Salt Lake City. So these are the four universities that uh, conducted research and they want to exchange files and data. So that's why they invented the internet and involved in this project so they can exchange information. All right. So initially, we didn't have Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. So these are the history, okay, of the internet. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. On the next slide, they mentioned about the web is part of the internet, right? What is internet? Internet is a global communication network or interconnected network that connected to each other to share resources. Okay, so what is internet? Internet is a global interconnected network that is used to share information or data. All right, and the web is a collection of web pages, right? The web is a collection of web pages that is hosted on the internet. So web is actually part of the internet, all right? Internet use TCP/IP protocol, transmission control protocol, and internet protocol. So remember that internet is based on the TCP/IP protocol, and the web is part of that. Okay? Example of the web is like www.southtexascollege.edu, www.hcb.com. Okay, so that is basically is a web, right? It's called a website, and the web is everything is going to be hosted in the server, right? All right. In 1989, Tim Berners-Lee and Robert Kalu. Okay, actually they are two gentlemen, Tim Berners-Lee and Robert Kalu. These two gentlemen invented the web in 1999. Okay, uh, they work for the CERN. CERN is let me go to the internet and find out the CERN stand for, right? CERN uh, stand for, right? Okay, CERN is stand for Council European pour la Recherche Nuclear. So we call it European Council for Nuclear Research, right? Uh, the professional body founded in 1952, basically in Europe, right? All right, so let's move on to the next one, right? So Tim Berners-Lee and Robert Kalu, they work for CERN, okay? And then in 1993, the first browser was released. The first browser that was released in the market is called Mosaic. Okay, Mosaic was the first browser. A year later, come another browser named Netscape Navigator. Let me show you Netscape Navigator. Actually, when I first time used the internet, uh, I used this Netscape browser. Okay, Netscape Navigator. Okay, but now not many people use this anymore. Okay, so this is called a Netscape browser. Netscape browser was very popular. Okay, so I remember that one of my roommate in Washington DC showed me how to navigate on the internet using this Netscape browser. But since Microsoft is a good marketing company, so they make Internet Explorer as one of the most popular browser in the market because uh, when people buy computers, the Internet Explorer browser always come with it. So it's just like a little bit called monopoly. Therefore, a long time ago, Netscape filed a lawsuit against Microsoft that they violate the antitrust law. Okay, but if you do some research, actually, Microsoft is won the case. All right, so that can be a good research paper topic in case you want to do some uh, more digging of information about the evolution of a browser. Nowadays, there are a lot of browser. You have Google Chrome, right? You have a Chrome browser, you have Internet Explorer, and then you have Bing, right? There are many. And then if you're using Apple Macintosh, uh, the browser is called Safari. All right. So 1993 was the first browser, and 1994 came another browser called Netscape Navigator. This is where the beginning, this marked the beginning of the web major growth. So in 1994, in mid 1990s, the internet was start getting more popularities, right? It's about 30 years ago, right? 25 to 30 years ago. And then in 1997, internet become global. This is everybody start uh, talking about internet superhighway, and where everything is based on the website or internet. All right. So this is basically in these slides, in slide number 3, mentioned about the history of the internet and the evolution of the web, right? This is called the first generation of the web or the first generation of internet. All right. Let's go to the next slide. These are some of the services that we can do with the internet, right? I think many of you are familiar with these services: email, instant messaging, social networking, web blog, video blogs, wikis, and so on. So these are some of the services that internet offer. All right. Notice that since the explosion of internet beginning mid 1990s or late 1990s, around 1997, come all of these services. Okay, so email, right? What is email? Email is called asynchronous communication, right? Asynchronous communication, that means is not real time. Okay, uh, one of the best ways sometimes to reach a person is through email, right? Because you can send them email and then they can respond at any time, at their own convenience, and then we communicate back to them. So email is the type is called is an asynchronous communication. That means it's not an instant, it's not in real time, right? And there are two types of email account. You have a client base, right? Client base or a web base. The client base require a client software like Microsoft Outlook. I don't know if I have a Microsoft Outlook here. Let me see. Here we go. I have an Outlook, but I haven't set it up, this Outlook on my laptop, because I normally uh, check my email at the office. Okay. And at this moment, I'm at home. So I'm using my school laptop that I haven't set up the Outlook. So this is the program, right? The other one is called web-based, right? Web-based email, uh, that means all the email are hosted in the cloud, right? For example, Gmail account or Yahoo account. These are a web-based email, right? Nowadays, most of the services are online, right? All the activities that we do in school, in life, or at work, right? Most of them are nowadays are online. We can do things through online, right? Even this lecture, since not many of you are attending the lecture, so I make this recording on a weekly basis so students can watch this recording at their own convenient times. But don't forget also use the GCF Global, okay? So my slide is the summary of the topic for this week. Move on to the next one, email etiquette, right? What is email etiquette? Email etiquette is a general guideline, how we conduct ourselves, how we conduct or communicate with other people through email. For example, when you send email, when people send email, they have to do a spell check, make sure be concise to the point, and include a meaningful subject line, right? I don't know if you receive a lot of email. Every day I receive like 10 to 20 email, and I only see what is the subject. Uh, I only read some important email that pertaining to the class and to the student through the subject line and the sender, right? Because if I receive a lot of junk mail, I usually do not have time or bother to click or to open, right? Since I have to do a lot of gradings for my classes and also to read to read and respond student email. So I need to use my time efficiently, right? Do not type in all capital letters, right? Some people, they do not know, especially if they are not computer literate, they type everything in a capital letter. Well, if they study computer information system or computer literacy now, they should know that normally you just use the standard English as an etiquette of email etiquette. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next one is instant messaging. Instant messaging is a synchronous communication, is a real time. This is a real time text-based conversation, right? As many of you guys already knows probably, right? Many of you are using Yahoo Messenger or Facebook Messengers, right? Or WhatsApp Messengers. All of these are instant messaging. But be careful, many of these applications are not encrypted. That means they are in the text-based conversation. So if you want to communicate confident, if you want to have a confidential communication, then you should not use instant messaging. In fact, some organization, they block messaging system, right? So they are not encrypted. Okay, so all right, and it's not secure. Okay, okay. Group communication, right? Wikipedia, blogging, and vlog. Okay, if you are good, if you are innovator, creative, and have some good idea, you can become a content creator. This content creator, actually, some people make a living through content creators, right? So with all the advance and with all the technologies and good mind, you can become a content creator and can make a living and or become have a side job to be a content creator. I think many people are successful. Okay, for example, maybe there are some food blogger, right? Travel bloggers or food bloggers, right? These are some of the things that people do to make a living, right? All right. Uh, so let's move to the next one. Chat room news group. I think many of you knows about what is this chat room and news group. News group is an online discussion forum. If you go to Craigslist.org, right? Craigslist.org or .com. Let me find out, right? Craigslist. Yeah. Yeah, Craigslist.org, right? There are a lot of news group that people can post discussion online, and uh, they usually divided by the city or by the state. For example, McAllen, Texas, right? There are a lot of topic discussion or news group about various issues that they posted on the Craigslist, in case you want to participate and involve. Okay, the next one is netiquette, right? What is netiquette? Netiquette is a general rules of etiquette, including introducing yourself when you enter a room, for example, right? Specifically addressing the person that you are talking to, right? Uh, you do not basically you need to follow some kind of a guideline, right? They call it netiquette, right? For example, you cannot post the same text repeatedly with the intent to disrupt the chat or conversation or behavior that may disrupt the public, right? This is called flooding, right? When you send the things over and over, when people post the same thing over and over in the news group or chat, this is called flooding, right? So these are basically some of the guidelines that or general rules that many people need to know, especially nowadays we conduct our personal and business life, right? Or school activities are online. Okay. Because this will help an orderly conduct for everything. Okay. Okay. Web 2.0, right? Let's talk about Web 2.0. The first The first thing that I mentioned to you in the first few slides about web that they only use for communication and emails, just basic things, that was called Web 1.0. But nowadays we live in Web 2.0. Web 2.0 is basically the interaction among people, software, and data. Nowadays we can post anything on Instagram, right? And then keep responding, right? So interaction among general people, public, software, and data. We can YouTube, right? YouTube also, Instagram, Facebook, right? Wikipedia, Flickrs, all of these are Web 2.0 apps, applications, right? Because it's interaction among people. In the old days, in the first generation of the web, we can only use for email and secure military communication, right? Very simple stuff. Nowadays, with Web 2.0, we have new apps and more innovative and more creative, right? Everything, people can participate in the communication and content creator on the internet. Okay, so that's Web 1.0. And then I'm going to mention about Web 3.0, right? Web 3.0 is an intelligent search engine, right? Let me give you example of Web 3.0, okay? Let me do some research give you a definition web 3.0, right? Now I'm using web browser, right? Uh, okay, here, web 3.0. Let me see if I can run this thing, right? Web 3.0, right? Uh, that means uh, it's a search engine that use artificial intelligence or machine learning. Okay, for example, when you type, uh, imagine that a new kind of the internet that accurately translate what you type or understand on what you say, whether it is through text or voice or other media, where all the content you consume is more personalized than ever before. Let me give you an example of Web 3.0. So Web 3.0 is basically they use artificial intelligence to have a search engine. Let me give you an example of Web 3.0. It's called, the name of the program is called Siri. You know, if any of you are using Apple iPhone, you can use Siri. For example, when I go to uh, when I when I go to Progreso, Mexico, for example, I can use my Siri and ask, "Hi Siri, where is the nearest? Where is what is the most popular dentist near me?" Well, by asking Siri, the Siri will return all a list of dentists that are quite popular and well known, right? So they use artificial intelligence, and it can be translated into as this simple and explained, right? It's a new kind of internet that translates what you type and understand, or what you say, whether it is through text, voice, or other media. So that Siri application on the internet, on the iPhone, is an example of Web 3.0. Another good example, let's say that I'm going to visit San Antonio, right? I can ask Siri, Siri, where is the most popular burger place near me? And then it will show you all the list of the burger place that is quite popular and well known in the area. All right. So they use artificial intelligence and machine learning to produce, or to enter the input and produce the result, display the result for us. Okay. So as you notice that we have the evolution of the web from web 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. Okay. By the way, this can be a good topic for your research paper in case you don't have idea uh, what you want to write and do a presentation on the PowerPoint. You can have you can use this topic as your research paper. By the way, make sure that you communicate and collaborate with your team members uh, to discuss and how you're going to approach and to work together as for this assignment. All right, for the research project. Okay, let's go to the next one. We're gonna talk about social networking. I think many of you knows what social networking, right? Social networking can be a good topic for your research project too, right? Uh, is a site that used to communicate and share information among immediate friends, meet or connect with others through common interests, experience, or friends, right? Uh, Facebook, MySpace, and nowadays I think the new generation of X and Y, they use Instagram, right? Who knows that 25 years from now, Facebook is still exists? We don't know, right? So probably there will be another new app similar to Instagram, okay? Uh, okay, all of these things that I just mentioned in the past 10, 15 minutes is all the services that offer through the internet. Okay? The next one is blogs and vlog, right? Blog and blogging, weblog, right? Weblog is primarily text-based, and video log and vlog is a digital video clip, right? As I mentioned to you earlier, you can become a vlogger and make a living through there, either part-time or full-time, right? So as long as you are creative, innovative, and have the time uh, to think what you want to do with this kind of tools. Okay. 14, Wikipedias, right? Wikipedias is a site that allow anyone to change their content. That's why when a student do a research paper, they may not use Wikipedias as their references because there is no reliable and trust trustable site or sources, right? However, for the purpose of assignment for my research paper, you are allowed to use one wiki, okay? In case you want to use a Wikipedia, you can use one wiki as a reference. Just don't use too many, all right? Okay, Wikipedia, and then I have a podcast. Podcast is a compressed audio and video file and distributed on the internet. You can become a podcaster too. I mean, I know that some people do a regular podcasting and they get sponsor from companies, right? And they can get extra income or a part-time income from the podcast, right? Uh, Aggregator is a software that gather all the news, right? Podcasts from all over the web, right? Podcast Podcasts that are all over the web is called aggregation, right? Podcast aggregator. So let me give you some example of a podcast aggregator. If you go to googlenews.com, right? Googlenews.com, right? It show all of the news from many different sources, right? That's one of them. The second one is bingnews.com, right? Bingnews.com it has all the information about news from the Bings. As many of you knows, Bings are belongs to Microsoft, right? This is similar to Google, right? Except is owned by the Microsoft. If you go to the internet, there are so many other news that have aggregator on it, aggregator software. Apple, if you are using Apple iOS, you have Apple News, right? You have Apple News. Apple News is an aggregator also. All right. Let me see. I think I'm gonna stop right here first, okay? And then I will continue the rest of the slide in the next for the following week, okay? I hope that this video give you some idea or information about the foundation of the internet. All right. So thank you for listening, and be sure to keep up with your assignment and email me if you have any questions. Thank you, and have a good rest of the week. Bye bye.